Hello, welcome to the Agency Download Podcast, where we have real conversations about the advertising marketing industry. I'm your host, James Williams, and today I'm joined by Susan Staupe, a digital marketing expert with experience in specializing in SEO and local marketing. And we just want to thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, James.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
I
So
am
could you
too.
could you just walk us through kind of your journey through digital marketing and kind of what inspired you to get involved in SEO? And in particular, what I really like, and I've been discussing more and more with different agencies, is kind of like the specialized focus agency. And you guys have a really specialized focus agency on law
Yeah.
firms. And could you kind of give us a background on kind of what led you to this point?
So I was a stay-at-home mom with 2 little ones, both under the age of 2. And I was bored, and my aunt had her own digital marketing agency. I knew nothing. I had no clue what SEO was, and she asked if I wanted to work remotely for her. And I was like, "Absolutely." She taught me most of what I knew back then, but then, as you know, it's ever changing. So I've just continued my to educate myself in webinars and following, the right people. But I ended up with law firms because she ended up going out of business and I went to Thomson Reuters, and that's where I picked up the legal niche. And it's just stuck with me for years. I absolutely love working with attorneys. They can be a real pain at times, and they go to school to learn to argue. So they always want to argue, but it's a great industry. It's a great niche.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Just the willingness to learn a new subject that you've never experienced before, I think
Yeah,
is the foundation of being successful in anything is like having an open mind of like, we're gonna learn, we're gonna figure this out. And as things change, especially in this industry, and especially where we are with technology and the digital marketing landscape, is there's always something evolving and changing, a new way that the algorithm works or new way that clients' expectations are or
change.
what technologies are available. Change is like the underlying consistent thing that we always can rely on is that there's going to be change in the market industry.
And that's why I think it's so appealing is because I have been doing this for 22 years and it's ever changing. It's never boring. There's always something new to learn, and it just keeps your mind going.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think are what's been some of the big trends that you've seen that have changed or evolved over the last couple of years or since you started to now? Like, what do you see kind
Oh
of
god.
the biggest trends or changes?
It was so easy back then. I mean, you literally would put in your title tags, meta, and keywords, and you could rank. So much has evolved. I would say some of the biggest changes, gosh, that's a really great question, James. Obviously, AI is huge. I mean, that's the biggest change we've seen to date. But everything from, backlinks to, I think the basics are the same, but there's nuances that I think apply to different industries, and it's just fascinating to me. I mean, I think, Google My Business and Google Business Profile, that's evolved and changed names about 10 times, but it's almost like a standalone site. Your Google Business Profile is like a standalone website. It's a different entity for local markets, and you don't have to have a website to be successful or to rank.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's probably the most fascinating, amazing thing that we have today that there wasn't previously is the ability for local businesses to have a huge impact and be able to compete with any brand. And it's not about necessarily like how much budget you have. It's about being very strategic with where you allocate your resources. And if you focus
Absolutely.
on local marketing tactics and channels, you can have a really big impact of just really emphasizing having a really good Google My Business listing, doing some Facebook advertising that is targeted and specific to your area. And even
Right.
what we do and we've helped out clients with is getting clients on TV where they used to not be able to get on TV because limitations in terms of targeting and the linear kind of cable had a lot of hurdles in terms of budgets to get in. Now you can advertise on TV for as low as $50 a day, just like you can on Facebook and Instagram ads. And now you can be seen on TV, you can be seen on Facebook, you can be seen on Google
Right.
for a very modest budget, but you can be known so well in the local market by being on
Yeah.
all those different places because that's where everybody's spending.
Well, and especially with AI right now, one of its main sources of information is your Google business profile and the recency of posts and the recency of reviews and how fast you respond to reviews. It really is going to continue, I think, to grow the Google business profile aspect of it. It's impacting everything right now.
That's interesting. I haven't heard anybody talk about that, yeah, Google My Business listings influencing the AI responses and output. I've talked to a lot of PR agencies, and they talk about, the importance of value of earned media is still very valuable because if
Yes.
you get in on authority sites, those authority sites are being really feeding in a lot of the data and information to the LLMs, and then
Right.
that's influencing the results. And then that makes a lot of sense, especially if somebody's using Google search and the overviews is that that's going to pull in all of the Google data and information from
Right.
Google My Business and a lot of other Google properties.
Right. No, LLMs, are leaning heavily on we call them earned media links,
Mhm.
but because it's again, the recency, news outlets are the first people to report on everything. So it's that recency again, and then the brand mention, and it's an authoritative source to LLMs.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
like better than a backlink.
Yeah. And we've seen, just so we always look at a lot of traffic into site, and we've just seen the rise in the referral traffic from Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini.
Yep.
All of that continues to rise. And that's probably been one of the biggest trends in terms of site traffic we've seen is the
Yep.
rise of that traffic, referral traffic coming in from those sources, where it used to primarily be it was paid, it was organic search, it was social media referrals, and
Yep.
now the next big referral source is all ChatGPT and all the LLM networks and all that. And it just makes me always think back to one of my first principles is always where do people spend time?
Yep.
As marketers and advertisers, we need to meet people where they are and
Yes.
find contextual ways to influence or
Yep, absolutely. About a month ago, too, analytics or Google kind of shut down the AI bots. So we're actually seeing a lot of direct traffic increases. And I'm talking 70-80% over the last 2 months. It's crazy. And I think that's all bot robots or crawlers.
got it, right. Got it. That's where the direct site traffic's coming in because they're coming into the site to read it and then feed either an LLM or some other source.
Correct.
Got it. Interesting.
Yeah.
I'd love to dig into more about the kind of your guys' legal firm focus because I think this is like a really interesting perspective always for agencies. I talk to some agencies that are generalists. They offer wide varying services,
Hmm.
but kind of for anybody. And then there's other agencies that kind of niche down to a specific industry and
Yep.
market and then make a specific product or service for that industry. How do you
Yes.
guys get into you speak a little bit about your guys' selection choice, how you guys focus on law firms and how you built out a solution really specifically designed for law firms?
Yeah, so, our owner previously worked at Thomson Reuters, that's where I met him. So we all had somewhat of a legal background, and we all left Fine Law or Thomson Reuters at about the same time. But back then, this is like 2008, SEO was extremely expensive, and attorneys were the ones that had the budgets and were willing to spend. So it's a numbers game is what led us here, but now almost everyone on our team has 20 plus years experience. And we do a lot of personal injury and criminal defense, but we do anything legal, and you have to understand the nuances, you have to understand the state laws, you have to understand the marketing restrictions for each state, and so it's just kind of been a natural transition for us to stay in the legal industry. Like I said, it's still lucrative, but not as lucrative as it was in 2000.
Yeah. Competition, evolution, all those things are underlying have an underlying impact on
Yep,
what clients you can get, and then what you can offer, the services and all that. I think we're obviously in a technology disruption phase
yep,
that's really affecting of how agencies are serving clients. And I think that's
yes,
going to continue to evolve and change over the next coming years that we're kind of smack dab right in the middle of how this is all gonna kind of pan out in terms of how agencies use AI to serve clients better, and
yes,
I'm of the opinion that I think brands are still not gonna wanna take these things in-house, and even though AI is gonna help us do some tasks faster, more automated,
yes,
and better, you still need a strategic marketer to point it in the right direction, and I
right,
think the brands and the advertisers and the clients are still not gonna have the time and expertise to do that because they
right.
still got to focus on running their business.
I
And
mean,
running
you
their business doesn't always have to do with running the marketing.
right, right, and you can I mean, AI helps tremendously to expedite our tasks, but you have to have that strategy and that background to implement the tactics. You have to create strategy and know when to pivot and shift focuses.
Yeah, and that makes me think of what you said earlier of like the technology has changed, but the underlying principles remain the same. It's like you
Right,
still need to know the underlying principles, which is always like how you get traffic or what's important to the audience that you're trying to target. How do you attract them
right.
in? How they access that just changes and evolves. But you need to know how you go after that audience. I think is always
Yeah,
key. And
very, very well said. Yep.
yeah. Yeah, because that's always what we're looking at from a media buying perspective is that we know that it changes in terms of people used to watch TV and they used to listen to terrestrial radio and they used to, use newspapers more, right? And now they've evolved to social media sites and connected TV. And we're using the
Streaming.
same principles we've always done for targeting and reaching those audiences. It's just
Right.
under with a new overarching technology layer that we can approach or reach those people. So I think that
Yeah,
that kind of has the same
streaming.
effect everywhere.
There's such an opportunity with streaming. I love that you guys do, TV advertising because I can't we haven't dipped our toes in that yet, but you and I are gonna talk about that. But, yeah, there's an untapped that's an untapped resource in my opinion.
Yeah, because the rise in how many people have used it. We just looked at some recent stats and it's overtaken linear and cable now. So
Mhm.
it's just been kind of right there, averaging very similar to those uses. Now it's like you get nearing 60% usage for majority of US households. And so
Yep.
that number is just going to continue to rise because the kind of millennial generation, the younger generation is going to continue to watch more connected TV
Right.
and continue to get rid of broadcast and cable. And so, and then at the end of the day, is we're just following the audience where they're consuming content, right? So
Absolutely.
we're just following them there. But the unique value of connected TV is one, you don't need large budgets to activate. You can start very small and then scale up, and you can still get access to all the leading apps, Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN and Paramount and Peacock, all the whole list of all the different streaming TV apps. So there's no barrier to entry.
Yeah, that's
And
awesome.
then you can use targeting that you can do on Google and Facebook ads on
Mhm.
TV and measure it. So you can measure leads and conversions and sales all through that same ad channel. So it creates a very unique opportunity where it's the big branding impact of
Yes.
TV that you used to get from linear and cable, but you get the digital tracking capabilities, targeting that you get out of Meta, Google, TikTok. So it
Right.
kind of has a balance of both.
It's huge because, and I tell clients this all the time, I can drive traffic to your website all day long, but if it's not converting and you're not seeing a return on investment, there's an issue.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yes.
And it's it's challenging because it has so much to do with like, is it the right audience, the right product market fit, the right offer at the right time? All of those things have such a big impact. But the measuring it and being able to drive is makes
Is
it
key.
measuring like which traffic's coming in and what the results are. All of that are still the kind of the foundation of all
Yeah.
good marketing.
It's data-driven decision making and strategizing based on the data that you have. You to me, you can't show your value without it.
Yeah. And before, it used to be a lot of guesswork
Yeah.
from traditional channels where
Yep.
the common phrase was, no marketing works. I just don't know which half.
Yeah, I haven't heard that, but that's good.
Right? It's
Yeah,
like it's coming, we're getting sales, we're getting it's just where is it coming from? We don't know because we can't track it,
right.
which is now we can track everything. But I think another big challenge that we always see though is the emphasizing too much on the lower funnel and not building the brand. Like the differentiation is, can you build a brand to differentiate from your competitors? Otherwise, you're just a commodity competition. And a lot
Absolutely.
of brands think fall into commodity competitions on search, on Facebook, on Google, and just trying to compete for the lowest funnel. But the brands that succeed over the long term are the ones that build the biggest brand to where people are going to them because you're known as the expert, as the best in this industry, or you're associated with something that's bigger than just offer this service at the lowest price.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Especially with personal injury attorneys, it's like, how do you differentiate? They're all doing free consultations. They're all open 24/7. They're all, so it takes time, but you have to really learn the personality and the brand of the firm in order to market it correctly. I have some attorneys that won't do a video if their life depended on it. I have other ones that do just like this, and they're publishing videos every day. But yeah, I think brand is going to continue to be more and more important in the coming months, especially with it LLMs.
Yeah, you have to be able to differentiate yourself, especially in this AI driven content world, which I think a big challenge for the content marketers over the next few years is if you're relying too much on AI, I think there's gonna be a lot of AI blindness. The
Yeah.
same way in the display space that I've worked in for the last 10 plus years is there's banner blindness. So see people see a banner ad on a website or an app, they just ignore it.
Yep.
And that's why Facebook and Instagram ads have worked so well is that it's kind of mimicked the feed. So people don't even recognize sometimes. I see comments sometimes on
Mhm.
ads where they're like, I don't follow you. How did you show up on my feed? They don't, so people
Yeah.
don't associate or recognize that it's an ad in the feed. And that's why it works so well. But you had banner blindness with banner ads. And I think we're going to get AI blindness with AI content unless you can make it very unique and on brand for somebody because the niche is you as a business or as an individual business owner. If you're trying to market your business as the entity, you are the unique niche that can
Right.
stand out and build a brand around yourself.
Absolutely. No, I agree. And it's just going to continue to be more important. And the people that aren't branding themselves are going to fall behind.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think has been some of your kind of guiding kind of principles or values that have helped over throughout your career to help navigate just ups and downs, evolution of business, everything? Like, what do you think? What's been some of the like foundational pieces you've always kind of relied on?
For me, it comes down to responsiveness and taking care of your customers or your clients. I have had the majority of my clients have been with me for over 10 years, some over 15. If I wasn't showing value and improvement over time, they wouldn't still be with me. But I think customers want to be taken care of. They want you to bend over backwards for them. And as long as you're willing to do that, if there's a down couple months or an up couple months, you can still manage that relationship. If
Yeah,
that
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think a lot of agencies and owners don't recognize, or a lot of people who work in the agency business is that this is a purely service-based business.
Yes.
We are in a service business
Yep.
and we do produce a product which is the marketing campaign, which regardless of whether you're an own, earned, or paid, you have kind of
Yep.
an output. But the foundation is being a service to your client, is
Yes.
representing them, taking ownership for what they need, looking out what's best for them. And I see that as an issue in our own industry that I've talked about before, where
Yeah.
the like previous model off of terrestrial radio and linear TV and all those, the media buyers I used to work with in that phase out of this watchdog mentality where they were making sure they were getting the best out of the publisher, the vendor, the radio, print, out of home, linear TV. They kind of have this watchdog perspective of, I'm going to make sure we get make goods if there's an error. I'm going to make sure if there's any issues from these vendors that we make up for it for our client. It was like they were protecting the client. And I think now the modern media buyers is like, I'm going to listen to Facebook and Google ads tell me how to run ads and do whatever they say, even if
Yep.
it's not in the best interest of the client. But I'm listening to a sales organization, which is Facebook and Google, tell me how to run campaigns and then not set up campaigns in the right way that's best for the client, but best for the publisher. And
Right.
I think that's a big issue that I think a lot of modern media buyers that don't have that perspective because
Yep.
they never worked in that traditional media buying
Right.
relationship.
Right.
I think the main focus though is servicing clients. I think that's the
Yeah.
foundation of all agencies is like, how do we service clients better? And we are in a service-based industry and you need to look out for what's best for the client
Right.
and
And
provide value to them.
there is so many shady, if you will, digital marketers out there, and they're just selling a monthly retainer and they're not doing anything for their clients. So it's easy if you have, I mean, it's an easy sell when you're being honest and taking care of servicing the client correctly and showing your value month over month, year over year. It's
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, especially in the, you know, a lot of different marketing services, but oftentimes the client is not an expert in it. And so they
No,
don't know
what's
what
good?
the
What channel?
what channel or what's happening always behind the scenes is that they're completely relying and trusting. And that is a bit
Yes.
of a challenge. It's a good and a bad of the marketing industry is that anybody can enter and do it, which is a good thing, but it
Yeah.
also can provide a lot of either bad actors or people who aren't really experts that are trying to figure it out and maybe haven't figured it out yet and maybe should kind of be mentored by somebody or have somewhat of an apprenticeship type of relationship, but are trying to start out and are getting clients and not necessarily doing the right thing for their client
Right.
because they thought they could figure something else that they couldn't. And I think that's a good thing and a bad thing
Right.
because you can have both.
Damage.
You want it to be open, but there is no certification. There's no board that's preventing people from starting a marketing agency, from doing
Right.
SEO, from doing paid, from doing content. Anybody can enter, anybody can sell to any client and make crazy claims or offers to
Right.
attract some clients and then not deliver any results.
That's what drives me crazy is when people are guaranteeing number 1 placement or first page place or and it's like nobody can guarantee that. If you're guaranteeing that, that should be a red flag
Yeah. If
for
it's
the
too good to
client.
be true, it's
Yeah,
probably
it
not.
probably is.
Yeah. You're either doing something that's very black hat, that's like on where you don't want to be and it's not going to last.
Right.
Or they're overpromising, they're gonna underdeliver. But yeah, I
Yeah.
think a lot of that's just, a challenge of younger, newer marketers coming into the industry and trying to make a big splash and trying to attract clients and opportunities, and it's just going about it, I think, the wrong way, is making obscene offers, I would call them really, of things they could do that they can't really do.
Right. 'Cause
And
nobody can control it,
right,
really. You
right. Anybody
can
could say it.
manage it, but you can't control it.
Yeah. And then that creates kind of a unrealistic expectations for a lot of clients or brands to deal with anything else. But I think that comes down to though is that you got to own what your real good offer is and just put trust and reliance on that and really know that sales to me is built off of relationships and trust. Is that like that's the foundation. And if you could do that, then you can build and build like it's better to build trust that if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to be able to deliver on it rather than I'm gonna make a ridiculous claim of what I can deliver and then
and
not
then
deliver
not
on it.
deliver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mentor, college graduates that are entering digital marketing. It's very rewarding, but it's interesting what they've learned in school, and a lot of it is promoting themselves and making obscene. But I think the bottom line is you have to set the right expectation from the beginning, from the first sales call you're in. Make sure the client understands it, especially a brand new website with no links and no branding. You have to start from the bottom and it's going to take 6, 9 months to a year. But if they don't know that going in, they're going to expect the website's up.
Yeah.
When am I going to start ranking?
Yep. Yeah, especially in SEO, such a longer term investment that
Right.
setting the wrong expectations can really put you back. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's somebody that they have to learn the right way of doing things and setting the right expectations. And that just comes with time and learning from people. But
Yeah.
that happens far too often, I think.
Yeah. I agree.
What keeps you excited, or what are you excited about over the next how many years in the marketing space? What are you motivated by?
I'm super excited about AI. I know a lot of people aren't. They think it's going to replace their job, but I think it's going to enhance my skills and I'm going to be able to turn things around and look at them differently with it's almost like having a second set of eyes for your projects. I use it quite a bit for outlines. I use it for policy and procedure. Have I asked it to do competitive analysis? I have, and it works, and it's really interesting, but it's all about the prompts, and you have to figure out which I think is time consuming, but follow people that are sharing prompts and talking about what they're doing. We have on staff a guy that's been involved in AI for years on end, and I'm like, "I didn't even know AI existed then." And it's just crazy. That's what excites me, and it excites me to see where it's gonna go and how it's gonna end up. I know a lot of people are terrified of it, but it excites me.
Yeah, I think it's just the next big opportunity, and
Yeah,
no doubt it's gonna automate away a lot of the heavy manual
mundane.
tasks and the mundane tasks that people used to do, but it's gonna create bigger opportunities for strategic thinkers that can
Yes,
use it as a leverage to do more or provide a better
faster.
service or to serve more clients or to do things faster. What used to take us a week, if we can do that in a day, that's a huge value add
Right.
increase for our clients.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's really the trajectory or the big opportunity that it provides. The only thing I started thinking though, I was wondering if this is going to happen that I'd be a little concerned about is right now there's this huge labor gap in the trades, right? We keep hearing like there's not enough plumbers, not enough electricians, there's not enough HVAC experts, there's not enough steel workers. And it's because there's been too much of a push of people going into universities and trying to get more online business focused jobs and not going into the trades. And now
Yep.
there's this gap in workers, and those experts don't have anybody to pass knowledge down. So they're been a seasoned expert, they've been working for 30 years, they're about to retire, they haven't passed that knowledge down to anybody,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I
I
agree with you.
wonder, is that gonna happen in the business marketing space where because we have AI that's automating these used to be kind of coordinator jobs, assistant jobs,
Yep.
we're not gonna have the pass down in knowledge to, the coordinator, the entry level person that needs to rise up and then learn, do some basic, more task oriented stuff, and then learn the strategy and the
Hands on.
principles of thinking how to do marketing. That are we going to end up with a shortage in strategic thinkers, and then we're going to have the labor gap in
Oh,
10,
that's a
15,
very
20
good
years.
point, James. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
that's
like I wonder, like, we're like heading down, we're like 10, 15, 20 years behind where the trades are right now in terms of
right.
like a labor gap, because those jobs and those people are going to go elsewhere. It's going to be like, oh, there's no jobs or opportunities there because AI is doing all those things. but eventually you're gonna run out of strategic thinkers.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and that is terrifying to think about. I
Yeah.
mean, if you're dependent on an AI or LLM to do all your strategic thinking.
Yeah, that's not gonna end up well. I think we still need people to learn the basics
Yep,
and learn from people who have 10, 15, 20 plus years experience
yep,
so that they can pass down that strategic thinking so that in 10, 15, 20 years, they're the strategic thinkers figuring out how to use AI. And
right.
then I guess the only other unknown is what is this AI going to be in 10, 15, 20 years? How advanced is it going to be? All of that. From some people's opinion, it's not going to change that much. Other people think it's going to have where it's at its infancy baby stage right now. And in 10, 15, 20 years, it's going to be far greater knowledge and capabilities. So we'll see which who's right in that in those scenarios. But
Yeah, I am when I mentor college grads, I send them an SEO 101 training, and it's like 10 chapters or whatever, and I want them to take the initiative to get through that training, and then once they've gotten through the training and take a test, then I'll mentor you because then I know you're serious and you want to learn the basics as well as the strategic piece of it.
yeah, absolutely. You have to take initiative. When you're young and you're trying to figure things out, like you have to be the one that takes initiative. Just like when you first started out, you're like, I know nothing about SEO.
Yep,
You know, you were a mom, you were not in the digital marketing space at all. And you're like, I'm just gonna figure it out. I'm gonna dive right in. And then that created a 20-year career
there.
right out of that is just because you were willing and open-minded to jump in and learn things and continue to learn as you went on. I think that's the foundation of success is like regardless of what technology landscape or regardless if there's AI or there's not, if you can jump in and learn, show initiative, you can succeed.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
Okay, I love asking this question, but if you could give your younger self one piece of advice, what would that advice be?
That's a really good question that I don't know how to answer. If I could give advice to it, learn the basics, understand why you're doing what you're doing, 'cause I don't think I spent enough time early on really understanding. Well, it was much easier then, but I think you have to take the time and you have to be willing to, do webinars once a week or read a blog every morning, or you have to take that initiative yourself. Nobody's gonna tell you that you have to do it, but you have to do it. Does that
Yeah.
make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. We actually used to do that earlier in our agency where we would have everybody read 2 articles or you had to do 1 webinar as part of their kind of, career path and development
That's
expectations. But the way we looked at it is like you need to invest 10, 20% of your time a
bigger.
week just learning so that you can continue to develop. Otherwise, you get just stuck in your bubble of work and
Right,
you never lift your head up to see what's really going on. And if you
right.
don't lift your head up, then it's hard to learn anything new and develop.
Right, it's hard to grow when you're looking down. You have to pay attention to what's going on around you at all times, and if you're not staying up to date weekly, monthly, what have you, you're gonna get left behind.
Absolutely. And then I think it gives you a good feedback of like you learn things and then you can test things in real time and
Yeah,
figure out what works and what doesn't work. Because there is a lot of content and webinars and recommendations of things that don't work or maybe
yeah,
work for one industry or in one situation but
right.
aren't going to work for your client. You have to like always figure out like what works for you, what works for your clients, how do you provide a better service, and I think you do that by learning what other people are doing and then trying to implement and test it.
Yes, absolutely. I think especially some of our salespeople think, well, if it worked for them, why isn't it working for this one? And it's like they're two totally different businesses. They may be in the same industry, but they're different businesses, and you have to understand the business.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely. Awesome. How can people connect with you or follow you? Anything you want to plug or share?
LinkedIn is the best way to connect with me. Always happy to share information. So if anyone wants to reach out, get some free advice, I'm happy to do that for them. You have to spell my last name though, because it's nothing like it looks. So Staupe.
No worries. You'll be in the title and show notes and everything. We'll share all that.
Good.
So all good. But yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me today. It was an honor.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much, James.
Thank you. Bye.